Hello dear all. So in today's lecture we discuss fourth chapter from Robert's philosophy, that is vital force in health, disease and cure. So let's understand the functioning of this vital force, which is nothing but the life energy, how it functioned in the state of health, disease and cure. This is the book The Principles and Art of Cure by Homeopathy by Dr. Herbert Roberts. Life. So, life energy is present in each and every cell and it is said to be present in the nucleus. All of us should keep it in mind. Energy is power. Energy is power. Its existence is felt, but it cannot be seen. Okay, so life and composition of cells is of a complex nature. The composition of animal protoplasm is capable of analysis. Yet there is in each cell and its life function that which is beyond our comprehension and defies analysis. The cell is having protoplasm. The scientists have analyzed the protoplasm and trying to find out its function. So there is in each cell there is protoplasm as well as nucleus, and lot many complicated processes are going on continuously in the cell, and this is done continuously and it is beyond our comprehension. So it's capable of analysis means what? The protoplasm is continuously analyzed by the scientist trying to search its various functions. We cannot as yet fathom the reason why a human ovum takes on growth and development only when the spermatozoa embeds itself deep in its innermost nuclei. We only know that it possesses some hidden vital function that compels it to develop and grow. So it is not for the human mind to grasp the reason why a human ovum takes on growth and development only when the one spermatozoa is capable of penetrating it into its deep innermost nuclei. We only know that it possesses some hidden vital function that compels it to develop and grow. So we know that it happens. We consider this happens because of life energy. So thus various phenomena in the body are continuously going on, which we are able to attribute to the presence of life energy. So we understand this. We can experience various phenomena taking place because of continuous effect of the life energy. Life is what? It is the ego which identifies the individual self, and it is nothing but energy. The power of each life to develop from the single ovum into its own ego, unfolding and expressing itself forever in its own way and individuality, never varying from the ideal that is once stamped to carry out to its perfection all the powers of adult life, distinguishing it from all other created species, is a marvel until we comprehend the principle of vital force or energy permeating all the created things. So, all these phenomena which take place in the body continuously. We are wondering how it takes place, how only one sperm is capable of penetrating the ovum and is giving the producing the zygote, how this new zygote is having the life energy. So all these phenomena, we wonder how it takes place. But once we accept the presence of life energy and which is able to give it its own label of self, the individuality, everything is very easy. Health. All of us know the concept of health. In order to obtain a thorough knowledge of the vital functions, we must study them in their manifestations during health. So, what are the vital functions we experience during state of health? The one point most vital to observe is the course and direction of its expression, always from within outward. This is true in the embryonic state and is always maintained as long as life exists. This is equally true in the specialization of functions. The special organs are developed and their functions maintained by expression of vital energy as the life-giving principle. So, various development of the special organs takes place in the human body. All these special organs are having the speciality in their cells which is able to give the spatial sensation. So this is maintained by the expression of vital energy. All the spatial organs with their spatial functions is due to expression of vital energy. In health, all expressions of vital force may be expressed by perfect functioning of all the parts of the body and by a sense of general well-being. So, in a state of health, vital force is functioning and so that the sense of well-being is there. So functioning of vital force in all the parts and organs of the body with person experiences general sense of well-being. All expressions of mind are through life. Expressions of vital force through mind and intellect have great influence in the functioning of life and of spatial organs. So, when do we accept that vital force is functioning in the state of health is when the person enjoys the general well-being feeling. The expression of vital force is through the functioning of parts of body, that is the organs, as well as through mind and intellect, and they have great influence in the functioning of man's life. So what is the functioning of vital energy during disease? In disease, this expression is vastly changed. There is a sense of discomfort. So the functioning of vital force is now altered. The general feeling of well-being is lost. The mental expressions are vastly altered according to the degree of disturbance. The mental expressions are also altered. Physical signs and symptoms appear. So, as the functioning of various organs of the body is now not normal, there are various signs and symptoms appear. As well, there is a change in the mental state during the stage of disease. All these discomfort and change in the functioning of organs as well as change in the mental expressions occur because the vital functions are disturbed either from external impressions having a depressing effect and a consequent reaction of the vital force, or from some hidden miasm coming into its full expression in its impression on the vital force. So, what are the causes by which our vital energy, vital power of life is getting affected? It is either by external causes or by the hidden internal causes, which we call as miasms. So, disease is caused by dynamic causes. External impressions having profound effect upon the vital force are such circumstances as the shock of sudden news, either bad news or joyful news, or severe fright such as the shell shock we see with our soldiers, long mental and physical strains, and various other reactions. So these are all the causes which are the responsible for affecting the vital energy, such as sudden shock, fright, joyful news, or the mental physical strain. These diseases or these causes are responsible for diseases. The process of development may go on until such time as some disturbing element as excessive joy, fright, or anger, or some of the zymotic diseases come in contact with the disturbed vital energy. When it bursts forth into volcanic action and we see the manifestation of what we call as acute diseases. So these causes of sudden shock, sudden fright, joy, various news is responsible for the disturbance of vital energy, and there after some time there is a formation of some manifestations, we call it as acute diseases. These manifestations offer to the homeopathic physician unique opportunity to learn of the indicated remedy, because at the close of acute manifestations nature cries out most loudly and points to the direction most clearly. It means that during the acute manifestation, as it is of a recent origin, symptoms itself speak loudly. Because at this time, symptoms are produced that are of inestimable value in the selection of constitutional remedy. So these symptoms which come spontaneously from the mouth of patient as they are very recent in the origin. The vital force is always attempting to recover from the disease states. In acute manifestation, the vital functions are often restored to complete the harmony by and through their own power, and it is noteworthy to observe the disappearance of symptoms in the reverse order of their appearance. It means that during acute manifestations, the vital functions can be restored to complete harmony by their own power. That means the maybe without medication, by own power, without medication, and it is noteworthy to observe the disappearance of symptoms in the reverse order. This is well illustrated by the course of the appearance of symptoms in such manifestations as eruptive fevers. The rash appearing last is the first symptom to disappear. The cough of measles, being the first symptom to appear, is the last to disappear. So, this is the law that symptoms which are appearing first are last to disappear. Acute disease may take on various forms. The assault may be so great and strong it can destroy life in a short time. The vital force may be so overcome as to be unable to strive successfully against the combination of outward and inward assaults and be completely destroyed. So, for example, acute onset of the pneumonia, and if it is very strong, the person may die also. Acute disease cure is by crisis. On the other hand, it may be able to overpower such disease conditions without outside help by crisis. But when this happens, there is such a drain on the vital energy that it is decided injury to the life giving force. Because of the sacrifice of fluids, when crisis takes place, there is lowering of the physical power of the patient, and here again the life is in danger. So, this such acute, strong onset of the symptoms can be fatal sometimes, and also this type of conditions can be overcome by the vital energy. It is called as cure by crisis by vital energy itself, but it has effect of too much drain on the vital energy, and it is very dangerous to the life. What is recovery? When the vital force is not of itself able to make a complete recovery, either due to hidden miasm or especially violent assault on the vital energy, the vital force often resorts to the methods of bringing about partial recovery. Thus, the vital force pushes the enemy to the outskirts of the country by establishing semi-chronic skin manifestation. This is one of the observation which is mentioned, and it cannot be the rule. There may be establishment of catarrhal disturbance on some one or more of the mucous surfaces, or the establishment of pus abscesses with the expectation and hope of throwing out the enemy. So, acute disease manifests as a catarrhal disturbance of the mucous membrane or the establishment of some abscess with the expectation and hope of throwing this enemy out. In acute disease, only is it ever possible for the vital force to rectify the conditions without assistance. So, is it ever possible, or is it always there? In acute disease, only is it ever possible for the vital force to rectify this condition without assistance? Let's see. So, the question is asked that it is possible sometimes for the vital energy to recover on itself by itself without medication and return these attacks of the causes upon the vital energy. So it is possible sometimes in the case of acute disease. So vital force can recover itself in the cases of acute disease without medication sometimes. But in chronic condition, this can never be done. The homeopathic remedy assists in the cure because it represents a superior force. No cure can take place unless a superior force is exhibited. So vital force requires assistance. The most potent force in the world of medicine is the potentized remedy, more potent by far than is the diseased condition. So, vital force requires assistance of potentized remedy to achieve the cure. So, under cure, the symptoms of deranged vital function always disappear in the reverse order of their appearance. This is true in acute as well as chronic disturbances. The physician can know of the progress of the case under the selected remedy. In the very serious cases, when we are so anxious to know what improvement is taking place, we can be assured by watching the order of the disappearance of the symptoms. So, improvement is equal to the disappearance of the symptoms of the disease. Too much stress cannot be laid upon the importance of the law of direction of cure of disease states. By cure, we mean the complete eradication of disease state and consequently the complete eradication of the symptoms and a return to a condition of normal vigorous health. This cure is according to Hering's law. Improvement and cure comes from within outwards. Symptoms disappear from above downwards. Complaints go from important organ to less important organs. And symptoms disappear in the reverse order of the appearance. One of the best illustration is the rheumatic fever manifestation. This is a case where the joints of the extremities are first attacked and next the joints nearer the body and presently we find the heart involved. This is the natural order of the onset of symptoms. Now if we relieve the symptoms appearing in the extremities, are we approaching a cure? Under the exhibition of the carefully selected homeopathic remedy, the more important organs are the first to be freed from being the last organs to be attacked. So gradually the manifestation recedes to the extremities, the first to be attacked. So according to Hering's law, cure takes place from more important organs to the less important organs. And we understand that health is a harmonious functioning of vital energy and disease is disordered vital energy. This once more shows the relationship between the natural disease symptoms arising from a disturbed vital energy and the artificial disease symptoms as produced by drug. This explains also the reason why the potentized drug is so effective in disease conditions. The action of remedy must follow the same cycle of action under the same laws as the natural action of the disturbed vital energy. So, first point very important, that this once more shows the relationship between natural disease symptoms arising from disturbed vital energy and artificial disease symptoms produced by drug. During drug proving, we observe the chronological appearance of the symptoms, and that is also noted in the homeopathic materia medica. So, in the disease also we observe the appearance of symptoms, and thus according to the law of Hering's the cure takes place. The potentized remedy is effective in disease condition as it is the stronger similar disease which is removing the natural weaker disease. This is the law of similars. The cure takes place by the law of similars. That administration of the similar remedy in the chronic conditions. So in chronic condition, this law is just as sure as in the acute conditions. But in chronic conditions, we are often faced with a seeming confusion. We have carefully taken the symptoms as reported by the patient and have made our prescription. So, in chronic disease, we are often faced with seeming confusion. When we can face the confusion, it is with respect to the order of appearance of the symptoms. So, how the law of Hering will be effective, that is the decision the physician has to make, and he must be sure in understanding the law of cure, and he can predict that which symptoms will disappear first. So law of cure, the physician is careful and he carefully refers to the symptomatology given by the patient. The careful reference to the symptomatology shows no apparent relation to the present symptom picture. But the old symptoms which the patient had are very important and are considered in the history. Why they are important? Because we want to understand the appearance of symptoms, and then we can be sure according to the law of Hering which symptoms should disappear first. Return of old symptoms in the reverse order of appearance, and that it has been long covered up and forgotten because of the later unfolding of symptoms. Then, as the later symptoms have disappeared, this older group has again come to the surface. So, return of old symptoms the physician should have in his mind when he has taken the case history. The return of old symptoms, otherwise physician will consider that some new symptoms have appeared. So careful history taking is very important in the treatment of chronic diseases, so that he is able to confirm that the symptoms which have come are not new but the old symptoms. Now we may know that we are proceeding in the proper direction. So return of old symptom is very important feature that he is in the direction of cure. Right here, great care must be taken not to mix up the case. So study of principles is very important for the homeopathic physician, and he should understand the homeopathic philosophy by studying the principles. The necessity of constant study of the philosophy that underlies homeopathy becomes more and more apparent if we would be masters of our work. However, if we can know that we are proceeding in the right direction, it gives us the patience and the courage to wait the events. Knowing that prognosis is favorable, our work is effective. Thank you. That was about the discussion of vital energy in health, disease and cure. So the role of vital energy in acute disease, chronic disease, and how homeopathic physician treats this disease is discussed in this lecture.